Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Should we be bracing ourselves for what is coming in November? Let's explore. There have been several members of the community who, for months, have been predicting something big is going to happen in November that could be parabolic for the precious metals and detrimental to our economy. And it is noteworthy that it has been within this community where some of these predictions have come. And what we've been seeing in the news as of late seems to back up what they've been saying for quite some time. And I think it's interesting to see what's been happening in the news lately, especially with regards to the Federal Reserve's actions. And I think a lot of it is based off of that. You know, how long can they do this tightening? How long will this last before the economy just gives way? And, you know, based off the recent numbers that we've seen, they could go for quite some time, at least if we believe those numbers. In fact, the latest reports from the gross domestic product is that it is up 2.6%. But notwithstanding, I think a lot of that has to do with people spending money on things that they know without a shadow of a doubt will be going up next month. And because of that increase, money being spent and velocity of that money, that means that typically the dollar is strong and inflation will continue to rise. We also have a lot of dollars that are still overseas that have not come back, but there's an increased chance of that happening too, especially with what I have reported on recently with what Egypt is doing and also with what Saudi Arabia have been doing. Saudi Arabia is part of OPEC, is cutting production for oil. And some people feel that that is the first step in them essentially joining the loosely associated BRICS nations. And, you know, we know that those nations have been wanting to kind of separate themselves from the dollar to be not so dependent on it. In fact, some of them are only dependent on it because they have to be for now. But their dream is to not be dependent and to essentially erase the dollar from their system of financial and economic systems in those countries. That's what they want. Well, now, a member of NATO in Egypt, who is an ally of the United States, is wanting to do the same thing. I reported on that recently as well, where Egypt wants to essentially not peg their pound to the dollar. And so that could have a ramification, an effect as we move into the month of November. All those things combined could be a powder keg. But nonetheless, those things in and of themselves and even collectively does not necessarily mean that we're going to see an economic collapse coming in November per se. You know, a lot of things happen at a snail's pace or a turtle's pace, whichever one is a little bit slower. And of course that would be a snail, but turtles sometimes can move pretty fast, but we're going to say for the most part that they are slow moving animals. And, but you know, they can certainly pick up the pace if the pressure is on, and November does seem likely. But what is, I think, on everybody's mind and an extent could lead to this is what we're hearing more and more in the news about energy shortages, especially in Europe and here in the United States. In fact, we know that with what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, we are seeing a greater pinch on fuel cost or fuel availability. And of course, costs have gone up hyperbolically with fuel. And, you know, fuel is needed everywhere. Oil is needed all across the world. And those costs are rising, and it's causing bottlenecks in production, supply chains, even to the point where it's affecting precious metals. The American Silver Eagle now, because they have stopped production. You know, it does take oil to produce a silver coin. the fuel it takes to operate the machines, the energy is involved in everything. And so therefore, the cost for these, if you want to buy an American Silver Eagle, you are paying double spot. That's right. If spot price is hovering around $19 an ounce, well, you're going to pay $38, $39 for one of these silver coins. The American Gold Eagle, those premiums are skyrocketing as well, upwards of $200 to $215 over spot for an American Gold Eagle. And so in a sense, we're starting to see prices increase for gold and silver separated from the spot price market. In other words, if you were to go to sell an American Silver Eagle, as I reported on a previous video, you would get upwards of $10 or $11 above spot for it, and gold eagles as well, well above spot price for those. And even privately issued pieces as well, and other government issued bullion pieces, you're getting more than spot for them these days, or you should be. If you look in the right places, you'll be able to get that above spot price, and which means that gold and silver are already starting to climb in price, separated from the paper markets. In other words, the paper markets are, give you a foundation for price, but it is not the price that you get, and it certainly is not the price you pay whenever you go to sell or buy. And so therefore, we are starting to see the ramifications already as we head into November. Many people feel it's going to get worse. As I record this video, we are a day or a few days away from the Federal Reserve raising rates again. And likely that it's going to be at least 75 basis points, but it could go up more. They may feel emboldened to do a full point this time, and that could be enough to set the economy over the edge, potentially, especially with all these other things happening as well. We could dip right back into a recession, and it could be a deeper recession this time that would be much harder to dig back out of, especially with what I'm about to tell you with regards to fuel that could be even worse. There are reports that the United States could run out of diesel fuel within 25 days as of the recording of this video, which is coming very close to November. And so by Thanksgiving, things could be really bad. In fact, there are some in this community, one specific person who has predicted that Thanksgiving 2022 will be essentially the time frame that we're talking about where things could be really, really bad in a really short amount of time. Very quickly, we could see things go south. And that could mean gold and silver could soar during that time because, well, the dollar, there's less and less faith in the dollar as inflation, hyperinflation, could come to pass. And that means people are going to run to anything that's going to be better than that. What is better than the dollar? Well, we know gold and silver are. And even in the immediate aftermath of such a time, as could be the case coming in late November, it may still take a few weeks for gold and silver to shine as many people think it should. But nonetheless, people will eventually run to the safety of gold and silver as they have for millennia. That's right. They're time-tested materials, gold and silver are. And of course, now that they are in coin form or gold form, or round form, or even in the shape of bars, people want and could request and desire to have and to hold gold and silver. And it wasn't that long ago, when you think about the grand scheme of history, when gold and silver were utilized as money, and people did hoard them and hold on to them. And here are examples here. People had gold coins. And now these St. Gaudens Gold Eagles did not circulate very widely, which is why you can find many of them in decent condition. But nonetheless, you could get them, and they were utilized and held by Americans, and they were made illegal to own because of an executive order in 1933. But alas, throughout time, from 1907, at least from the time these were minted, there were others that were minted before that were utilized for transactions and held and stored and saved as a store of value here in the United States, sanctioned by the United States government as money. The St. Gaudens $20 gold piece, which is the largest gold coin ever to be issued for those transactions. And then you have the American half dollar. This is a silver coin, Walking Liberty silver half dollar that was utilized in transactions. Beautiful design, probably one of the most beautiful silver coins ever produced by the United States Mint. You have also silver dollars as well, and I'm going to show you an example of one of those. This is an American Morgan silver dollar utilized in transactions. Beautiful coin, very popular among collectors. And again, this is the largest silver coin. This is the largest gold coin that you see here. Both of these, that could protect you. And having those in your possession at the time would have been a great way, because you just save money. It was money. Gold and silver were money. Now we have these dollars, but these may not protect you. Even though I am a proponent of holding these in your stack, or to have them outside of the financial institutions, to have them, it's losing value day by day. Still a good idea to have them to protect yourselves in times of trouble. But really, the ultimate form of protection is to have gold and silver in your possession, because you can't erase history. And it seems like we're frustrated things move at a snail's pace or at a turtle's pace. But again, things can happen very quickly in a short amount of time. And most people feel that if it does, it may be just too late. I think for many of you here that are watching this channel and watching this video, most of you know, but there are a lot of new people coming into the fray that are accumulating gold and silver. And I don't want to scare you, and this should not be about fear. It's about preparedness. And so for any gold and silver that you have accumulated, hold on to it. Do not sell. That's the soundest advice I can give you. Although I do think it probably is a good idea, as your budget allows, to buy a little bit more silver and gold as your finances can dictate. So there you have it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. There's a lot of things that are happening right now that very well could lead to something big happening in November, and it could come to a head around Thanksgiving. We'll find out as time marches on. I could be totally wrong on this. This is not financial advice. I'm just saying that it's looking more like this could be a possibility as we march on through the coming days here and weeks. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.